Hey, welcome to 9394, a music podcast with me, Travis. I hope you're doing well. I hope things in your life are going as smoothly as they can. 9394 here, we're all about celebrating albums, obviously, but we're also here to celebrate icons. And boy, Ozzy Osbourne, pretty iconic dude in global music history. And no one was better suited to talk about him than the metal professor himself, Brandon Callahan, my buddy who's come back on the show to dig back a little further than we usually do, a little earlier than 93, 94 ordinarily goes. We're going back to 1991 here, but this is the album he wanted to talk about to honor Ozzy Osbourne, and it is definitely an album that people were listening to in 93 and 94, so here we are talking about it today. Check out the conversation he and I had. Brandon, you've come back on 93, 94. God, I'm losing track. You're one of my most regular contributors, so I'm not even going to try and count them off at this point. Just thank you for again coming back and helping the show keep going. What album are we here to talk about?
The Metal Professor has returned.
He has.
I'm here to talk about 1991's No More Tears by Ozzy Osbourne.
The dearly departed Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah, and actually, as you know, the show has something of a rule where, like, once you've been on a few times, you're welcome to get outside of 93, 94 and, like, do stuff that came a little bit before that, kind of inform the era, or maybe came out of the era. But this is a little earlier. Actually, this is the earliest album that I've done on the show. The earliest album previously was Nirvana's Nevermind, but this beats it by 1 week. Came out in September 17th, I think, of 1991, but about a week before Nevermind. So you have a new record on the show. Congratulations.
Well, this is my first time stepping out of 93, 94 years, so.
That's true. You're a stickler for it ordinarily, so yeah. But you wanted to do this one because he passed away, and you're like, I need to get into that and talk about it, right?
Yeah, Ozzy has meant. It's almost hard to put into words what he has meant to, like, my life and, like, my musical journey in life. It's hard to, like, talk about it without even, like, welling up, just
I get it.
I was there for his last concert, which we didn't know was gonna, yes we did know it was gonna be
that was kind of the idea, right?
We didn't know it was be his we didn't know it was gonna be his last time on it,
like his last public
on stage,
performance,
anywhere, doing anything. Yes,
yeah.
last public appearance, even like doing like a award show, like one of the presenters,
right, like a Hall of Fame,
saying the nominees,
right. And so ordinarily at the end of every episode of my show, I'll do like some sort of trivia kind of thing, or sometimes I'll do like just kind of a topic of conversation. So I'm leaving that part of the show aside. I want to get into that trip with you in depth and talk about that as much as you want to go into it. So let's get into that a little bit later, and you can just tell us the whole, break out the slideshow, but give us the whole story. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome, that'd be great.
Perfect.
So yeah, I mean, I got into Ozzy very early in my heavy metal journey. Of course, we all know Metallica was first and kicked open the door for everything, but Ozzy was, right there, like right behind that first wave of band. Like, you can't read a music magazine in this time period without seeing or hearing the name Ozzy. Like,
sure.
It's just in pop culture lexicon at the time, you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
I probably knew his name before I knew any song that he ever did, one of those names, one of those people.
Totally, totally. I remember when this album came out, so I would have been 11. And so 11, like 91 is about when I first started. I mean, I had a couple of other albums I like had copied off of my brother and sister and stuff. Like I had like The Cure and I had some stuff like that that was dubbed, But it was around 91 that I started getting albums that were just mine, you know. And this album was
Mhm.
one of the first cassettes that I got. Like even before I think I even started ripping off Columbia House, I got this, and it was because of it was there was big singles. This was like really on the airwaves and on MTV and stuff. This was a really big album, which it seems like it's not remembered as well as it should be because it was such a huge album when it came out. But even when it came out as an 11-year-old, I would 100% knew who Ozzy Osbourne was, but I couldn't tell you fucking anything about him, but I knew the name. You know what I mean? And so it was like one of those first albums I picked up and got into.
Yeah, this album was a massive multi-platinum Grammy-winning album. But yeah, it got buried under. I mean, so much came out in this time period from '91 to call the year in the '90s. But it's just especially in '91. I mean, he got buried by Nevermind, Nirvana, Nevermind, Metallica, the Black Album,
or Use Your Illusion 1 and 2.
Yeah,
Guns N' Roses. There was some other kind of like big classic rock stuff from that era that I'm not saying it's better or worse, but seems to be remembered better, despite the fact that when this was big, I mean, it was fucking huge.
Yeah. So I got into this album around 96, 97. That's when I started to get into, obviously a lot of the heavy metal at first. And Blizzard of Oz was my first Ozzy album.
Cool.
Because I had Crazy Train, that I've read about Crazy Train in all the guitar magazines, all the metal magazines. So I knew that was the album to get it first for me. And then from there, I just kind of jumped off, and it's kind of hard to remember when you're getting so much music at such a frenzied pace at such a young age, when.
But what you got to do is you got to start a podcast where you parse that out episode by episode over the course of several years. That's my advice.
Like therapy, it just comes out.
Right.
Yeah, so it was probably maybe the third Ozzy album I got. It was probably No More Tears. And I don't remember where I got it from. Probably, Borders or Columbia House or something.
Right.
And I just remember I got No More Tears, and I had a brand new giant CD player that my parents had got me for my birthday.
Cool.
And No More Tears was the album that I tested the sound with, because it's just such a well-produced album. Like, it just sounds so crisp and polished.
That's pretty cool that you remember that as like the album that you used to break it in. That's pretty cool.
I remember my parents even were gracious enough to get me the added-on powered subwoofer for the stereo.
Bonus. Will you press that little button?
They probably regretted that, but
didn't know what they were getting.
They were happy to see me with it. I don't remember when I got the album in order of getting Ozzy albums. It was very soon into it, and I remember testing my AOA surround sound system with No More Tears album.
Very cool. But you don't remember the blitz of MTV videos, because you know how MTV in the early 90s would just play they had 1,000 videos, but they just played 10. This was a few of them for a while, was singles from this album.
My family got cable around late 93.
Yeah.
So by this time, the album was already out of rotation pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get much from the No More Tears album cycle through MTV.
Well, I think you and I got it around the same time, actually, cable, because I think it wasn't really that readily available in our county. I didn't actually have it either until 93, but my Nana had it in West Virginia. We spent a lot of time down there. So whenever we went to Nana's house, we just veg out in front of her MTV the whole trip, basically.
Yeah, I was too young to remember. I remember some videos from the first couple years of MTV, but I can't say I remember Ozzy as much as I want to.
Right on. Well, let's remember him well now. What about your favorite song on this classic album? What's your choice?
Well, as vanilla as it is, give me a big scoop of the title track, No More Tears. One of his best songs ever, if not on the album, period, for me. Just the like the whole vibe of the song, just the epicness of, like, I don't usually like keyboards in a lot of my metal, but for like Ozzy, it's just, I don't care. It just sounds so epic, where it's just
It works.
behind behind Zach Wilde, just like thundering rhythm, like, and it's one of those less is more songs too. He's not going a mile a minute. He's not packing a bunch of notes into his riffs. It's just a call and response. It's very simple, it's effective, and it's just an all-time classic, period, in my mind, like, ever, any genre.
It's an awesome song. I actually don't know that this is the right call to choose it as my underrated track because it was a single. It's a big song, like you said, it's a classic, but I've chosen it as my underrated track because I kind of had forgotten about it and what a ripper it is, and I feel like the general populace has forgotten about what a ripper it is. That bass line alone is enough to get you fucking moving and real excited. And then it's so creative. Like, it goes like these weird places you're not really expecting it to go, and it kind of like Zombie Stomp. There's a couple songs on this album where he just gets really fucking like, I'm gonna play with it. It kind of throws back to Black Sabbath a little bit more, I think, than some of this stuff. Because I'm aware of it, but it's a lot more like I'm not going to follow your typical structure. I'm going to do some kind of weird bridges and asides and then come back, and it's fun. It's a really interesting song.
And the guitar solo is just like at the pinnacle of, you know, epic guitar solos. It's just, bring up any number of best guitar solo of all time lists, and I guarantee No More Tears is on a few of those lists in the top 10. Zach Wilde is on fire.
Oh, Zach Wilde is something else, man. He's one of those guys that, like, I knew his name at a young age, even as, like, not really a big metalhead or, like, a big guitar guy. And it's not like Dimebag Darrell or Slash where they kind of stand out from their band, because this is different. Zach Wilde is, like, he's not in a band. He's Ozzy's guitarist. You know what I mean? Like, and for him to get as big as he got just by playing for Ozzy, but because, like, he's so incredible. Like, he's such a virtuoso of the instrument. And yeah, he really gets to show off in this song.
Yeah, Ozzy has obviously always had a knack for just pulling these guitar lords, these guitar legends out of thin air. Like, few people heard of Quiet Riot and, like, some guy, but, like, when Randy Rhoads joined Ozzy's band in 1980 and, like, pretty much propelled Ozzy with his, you know, sound into, you know, what he's ended up becoming, it's just like, no one ever heard of Randy, no one ever heard of Jakey Lee, no one ever heard of Zach Wilde. Like, he just brings these guys and makes them, you know, makes them into like household names in the, you know, hard rock metal community. Like, it's insane.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, he's clearly a collaborative dude. He is someone that, like, on this album in particular, for instance, like, he collaborates with a ton of different people. They show up all over the album. In particular, Lemmy from Motorhead is doing a bunch of lyric writing here, including for my favorite song. So my favorite song for this album kind of surprised me. I almost would have thought that I would have picked it for my underrated, because it was a song I just kind of forgot existed, since I hadn't really listened to this since like the mid 90s, really. But I fucking love this song, Desire. It is so cool that the intro and outro, the way it builds, it's so sing-alongy. I love the throwback to Crazy Train and all of that. Like, it's just got such a great fucking energy to it. It really sounds of the era, right? Like a classic rock early 90s song kind of thing, but it also just feels so fresh still. It's an awesome song, and Ozzy takes those lyrics and makes them his own. Like, he takes all four of the songs that Lemmy wrote. Like, you never would necessarily think that someone else wrote those lyrics. Like, Ozzy just sells it.
I love Desire. I've always loved Desire. It was in contention for my favorite and for underrated, but it's not really underrated in the Ozzy hard rock community. Like, it was a staple of his live show for, like, years and years. So I didn't put it as my underrated, but I've always loved the pacing of it. That main fucking riff Zach lays down is just face melting. He's always got his, you know, sweeping pentatonic solos, because that was for the guitar heads, that was Zach's thing. Like, every Ozzy guitar player has, like, had a thing. For instance, Randy was the whammy bar. He used the whammy bar all the time, and he was classical. And Jakey Lee, his other guitar player from the 80s, was a shredder, like a flashy shredder who played, crazy arpeggios and scales nobody's heard of. Zach's thing was he didn't want to do any of that. He's like, I want to keep it simple. He just swept pentatonic scales, and it's effective. It works. I mean, you hear the results.
Oh, yeah.
It's on perfect display in Desire, and yes, thank you for picking that. It's such a rocker.
I'm so glad you picked this album because it was one that I had just kind of discarded from my memory in a lot of ways. I mean, like I like Ozzy, okay, and I respect him, but I don't really spend a lot of time listening to him, as we've talked about on the show when he appeared before. Like I went through a stage where I was into some metal stuff, but as my life went on, I don't listen to a lot of that stuff very often. And if I'm going to listen to something like that, I'm way more likely to put on one of the first few Black Sabbath albums. So I hadn't listened to this in a really long time. And this song in particular, like, it just like took me right back to like being 11 years old and like still playing with G.I. Joes and shit and listening to that, and like I remembered all the lyrics, even though I forgot the song existed, but I'm still singing along with it. I've been singing along with it all week, the last couple of weeks. Yeah, it's a really fucking badass song. So I'm glad it's back on my radar because it's a really cool song.
And him and Lemmy made such a good writing duo on this album, and they did a couple more songs on subsequent albums, but like them together, just like Motorhead and Ozzy, like, how can you go wrong? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they clearly work very well together. Now, what about your least favorite? You got to have a least favorite song on this album. I wonder if maybe we even picked the same one. I feel like it's possible. What's your choice here?
I don't know. I went back and forth so many times with least favorite because I have to remind myself it's like least favorite, not worst, not, so
right.
My least favorite, but I love every song and I love like things about every song. So I was like, oh, God damn it. So it was between two songs. I boiled it down to between two songs, and it was between Zombie Stomp and Time After Time.
Which one did you settle on?
Okay, so the deciding factors for Zombie Stomp was it has a very long intro, which I've always fast forwarded through since I was a kid. Like, it takes forever. It's a 2-minute intro.
I actually like that long intro, but I get it. It is lengthy.
And Time After Time, I chose as my least favorite.
I had a feeling you might.
Time after time, I guess that love is blind. I couldn't read your mind, line after line. Line after line, it was written in your eyes. I guess it's no surprise, time after time. I can hear them whispering, shadows in the rain, thinking how it might have been. Time after time, line after line, you brought me.
It's a great song. It's a great Ozzy ballad. It's just one too many ballads on the album with that for me.
I hear that. Like, maybe if it had been placed earlier in the album, you wouldn't feel that way. But by the time it does come up, you're like, oh, another ballad. Yeah, I hear it.
Well, of all the ballads on the album, it's my least favorite.
Lyrically, it's a little weak. Like, there's a lot of words that rhyme with time.
But like a weak Ozzy ballad on like a great album is still better than how many other songs. You know what I mean? So it's just like it was hard to pick, but it's like, sorry, Time After Time, like you're gonna have to go. One of the B-sides that were pretty popular as well, like Party with the Animals, you could have stuck in there, and I would have been just fine with that.
Was it a single, Time After Time? Do you remember? Do you know?
It was not. They only had 2 singles off the album. No More Tears.
No More Tears and Mama, I'm Coming Home. Okay.
Yeah.
Because Time After Time feels like it could have been a single, but like it would have been like the third one that maybe would have been forgotten. But I remember liking it as a kid.
Yeah.
But you're right. Listen to it today. So we don't have the same least favorite, but I did have a guess that it might be yours, just because it seemed. I don't want to. Again, like least favorite, right? Like it's not like it's a bad song. It's a really good song.
Yeah.
But it's just a little more lukewarm compared to a lot of the scorching hot songs on the album. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I get it. But for me, my least favorite has always been my least favorite. Can you say Mr. Tinker
Hey, Mr.
Train?
Tinker Train. I quote that all the
Jesus
time.
fucking Christ. It could be the best music I've ever heard in my entire life, but these lyrics make me so fucking goddamn uncomfortable. I cannot listen to the song. I skip it every time. I've listened to it a few times, like, you know, in prep for the for this episode, but like, goddamn, like eventually I'm like, all right, I already know I'm picking this as my least favorite. Like, no wonder there's no other songwriting credits on this one. If anyone did help him write it, they're probably like, oh no, it's okay, Oz, you go ahead and take full credit on this one. He's like, cool, I'll make it the first song on my album.
I had a feeling you might choose that. It's a little cringe looking back on it, but like, yeah, but like the way Ozzy sings it, and like, you know, he's not a creep. It's just like, he's so endearing. That's like, you say like, I don't know. To me, it makes me laugh when I hear it. But if you read the lyrics, just like, maybe I Don't Want to Change the World would have been a better opener.
It feels like it's the opener to me, since I usually skip Tinker Train. But yeah, you know, I mean, it was a different time. Like, there was a lot of songs in the early 90s and late 80s that were about, like, you know, about fucking teenage girls and stuff, like very casually. And there was a lot of songs that casually included lyrics about rape and that kind of stuff. It was just like a lot more rough stuff made its way into pop music.
Like every popular rock song in the 70s.
Yeah, a lot of that shit was pretty rough. You know, She's My Cherry Pie and all that kind of shit. There's some pretty rough stuff from that era. So I understand that that's where he's coming from. That he's like, he's not being naughty. He knows he's being like sick and disturbed, but it's still coming from like a weirdly playful place. And it's not really like, I don't think that he's a creep. Like, there's no part of me that thinks, oh, Ozzy's like hanging out on the Epstein Island or anything. He wrote that song. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that. I think Ozzy was probably a really good dude. But that song is just such an uncomfortable song. And it also just irks me that it's the first song on the album, except for that it makes it easiest to skip. So I'm like, okay, I can press play and then skip right away.
Yeah, I always just saw it as like no, it's, looking back on it, it's very cringy for the lyrics.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the music's okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, then you get that carnival shit, like the Alice, you know, creepy.
Yeah, musically, I always loved the music of it, and I listened to it for the guitar solo when I was a kid.
Sure.
And didn't really think about the lyrics when I was that young. It wasn't until I got older I was like, oh yeah, Mr. Tinker Train.
Yeah. I mean, I remember it was like being a little bit uncomfortable with it as a kid and like kind of creeped out by it as a kid and be like, I don't really like that song that much. And it was like I said, it was like my least favorite then. But now that I'm older, I'm like, holy shit. This is like, what, did Pennywise write these lyrics? What the fuck is this? Like Pennywise the clown, not the band.
Yeah. Please don't cancel me for not making it my least favorite.
I think everyone understands that you're not like in support of Tinker Train, or at least the content of it. So no, you're good.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get back into the happier side of things and celebrating the album. What is your underrated song of this album, Ben?
So like I said, it was going to be Desire, but then the more I analyzed it, I was like, no, that's popular. So I actually went with track number 6, Won't Be Coming Home, S.I.N.
Yeah, so where he earlier is like, Mama, I'm coming home, he rescinds that later. Like, no, I won't be coming home, actually. And I think is this another one that has a Crazy Train reference? No, I think that's AVH. There's like a couple Crazy Train references on this album.
Yeah, that's AVH. Honestly, for a lot of years, I was into, when I would listen to an album, I would listen to the songs I liked and not listen to, the songs I didn't like, or not didn't like, but just wasn't. And I
didn't grab me.
Yeah, it's just like after the first 5 tracks of this album, it's definitely a first half, second half album. You know what I mean? The first half of this album is just all-time banger, just bam. Yeah. And then the second half, I honestly never really listened to a lot until probably 10 years ago, And the more I started listening to, and not just for this album, but like all of my old favorite albums, I just go back and start listening to them front to back, all the songs. And doing that over the years, like, Won't Be Coming Home, it's just such a good song. It has like 3 choruses pretty much in it, and they're all catchy as hell. The riffs are great. It's just like, why wasn't this like a more popular live staple, or you never hear anyone be like, oh yeah, well, it could have easily been a single. It's that catchy, and it could have been a live staple. Like, you never hear anybody talk about, hey, Won't Be Coming Home off No More Tears. You don't hear it. And I'm listening to this album more and more, especially the last few weeks, I'm just like, god damn, this is a insanely crafted, great song that doesn't get enough mention, and that's why it's underrated for me.
I think there's a lot of songs that could be chosen to be underrated that either one of us could have picked, and I'm glad you picked that one. It is one of the ones that's buried right in the middle of the album, and it's buried between 2 real ripper songs that kind of are also standout songs, So it's just, it's a really good choice, I think. Great call. Won't Be Coming Home is a good one. It stood out to me too. Yeah. Well, there's one more song we have to talk about because we didn't bring it up that much. We got to talk Mama, I'm Coming Home, because it was such a big single at the time. And like, if you go to Ozzy's, to his Spotify page, for instance, it's got one of his most downloads after Crazy Train. I think, it's like, it's got the most downloads out of any of his songs. So it's one of the biggest songs he's ever recorded, and it's a pretty song. But I gotta tell you, it occurred to me yesterday for the first time since I was 11 that he's not singing about his actual mother. Every time I heard the song, I'm like, wow, Ozzy's really got a really complicated relationship with his mom.
Times have changed and times are strange. Here I come, but I ain't the same. Mama, I'm coming home. Time's gone by, it seems to be you could have been a better friend to me. Mama, I'm coming home. You took me in and you drove me out, yeah, you had me hypnotized, yeah. Lost and found and turned around by the fire could be right, I could be wrong. It hurts so bad, it's been so long. Mama, I'm coming home.
Like, oh, mama, like how some girls would call their boyfriend daddy. Oh, suddenly it makes sense to me.
Sharon. Yeah, it's about
Yes,
Sharon.
I think Sharon's mama. Well, Lemmy wrote this one too, right? But I mean, maybe with Ozzy, at any rate, he'd be talking about Sharon.
I would have my metal PhD revoked if we didn't talk about Mama, I'm Coming Home, because it's just
Right?
It's a perfect ballad. It's a perfect Ozzy. It's an amazing song, and it just stemmed from that's what he would say to Sharon on the phone when he was coming off tour. Is Mama, I'm coming home.
So Lemmy helped him write the lyrics, right? So he would have been
Yes.
like, this is something that he did, but then Lemmy like put a finer point on it. Oh, that's so sweet. That's great.
So it's his love song to Sharon, was with him through thick and very thin, for by his side till the end,
That's beautiful. It is a gorgeous song. Like, it's such an amazing ballad. I feel like, again, like, not to bring up Guns N' Roses again, but like November Rain gets so much love from this era, but Mama, I'm Coming Home is right there, like, as far as early 90s amazing classic rock ballads that are representative of the era, and just, I don't know, it's a really great song. It's awesome.
As soon as I hear that 12 string like slide in, I was like, oh, like I get the feels hard, like very hard, and it's a good time actually to talk about with Mama, I'm Coming Home. The bass lines in that, longtime Ozzy collaborator Bob Daisley, he was all over Ozzy's career from Blizzard of Oz, the very beginning, until this album. They kind of stopped working together, but he was the bass player on the first two Ozzy albums. He wrote numerous songs to all of those Ozzy albums, his biggest 80s, 90s albums, and he doesn't get mentioned a lot, but he is as instrumental as any of Ozzy's virtuoso guitar players that he's had in the band is Bob Daisley, from a collaborator and musical standpoint.
I'm glad you brought him up, because there's a few points on this album that stand out to me. It's just really awesome driving bass lines, and yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, I never even heard the name, I don't think. Not that I recall.
And he would even work on Ozzy albums where he wasn't playing the bass. Like,
Oh, really?
Ozzy would have straight up another bass player. He didn't care. He just loved being involved with, certain artists. And he was
so
also
cool.
involved with Uriah Heep a lot. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
A little.
But this is kind of like the cap in the, the tail end of their career of working together was this No More Tears album. And I just wanted to give Bob Daisley a little credit for what he did with Ozzy.
It's well deserved. So you went across the pond to watch Ozzy's last show, you and your girlfriend. Let's hear it, man. Give us every little bit of the details of the story that you want to tell us.
I mean, so my first concert ever was the Black Sabbath reunion tour with the original lineup with Ozzy singing.
Wow.
So my first, initiation into live concerts, live music was Black Sabbath with Ozzy Osbourne. So, like,
mine was Amy Grant. You win.
yeah, I remember you telling me that, and I just, it's just for that to be my first concert, and I was at his last concert, and like,
Full circle.
you never knew or care that I was there, whatever. But like, it's just Sabbath and Ozzy has just been instrumental, like I said, in my musical journey, and so I saw Sabbath live. And I saw Ozzy live a bunch of times, and I remember when they were talking about this show being announced, I told myself, if they do it and when they announce it, I'm going to try with everything I have to go. And I kind of forgot about it, and then I was at work and one of the guys I work with just got back from his lunch break. He's like, "Hey, did you see that concert announcement?" And I was, Sabbath, Ozzy, Slayer, Metallica. I was like, just stopped dead in my tracks. I was like, I'm going on break. I left the department. I went on break. I'm not gonna say whatever. Anyway, I saw the poster and I told myself, this is the moment. Like, here we go. So, yeah, I saw when tickets were on sale, and I saw that the first opportunity to get tickets was going to be if you were in a fan club pre-sale. So I signed up for the Ozzy and Sabbath one, which I already was in, but I had to just redo my passwords, and then I was already in the Metallica one. So I was in a handful of fan clubs to get first dibs at tickets, and I ended up being able to get the tickets through the Metallica fan club. So I used that code, and tickets went on sale 10 a.m. England time, or London, whatever, Greenwich Mean Time, which is
right.
Well, 10 a.m. London is like 5 a.m. here, so I get up for work at 4:45. So I was already up for work, getting ready.
Perfect.
Yeah, I got in the online queue. There wasn't that many people in front of me, so I was like, okay, I might actually get a chance to look at some tickets. So I had to click about 3 or 4 different times to be able to get seats because they just kept disappearing as quick as I could get them in my cart. And I wasn't even looking at price really. I was just clicking until I got them. And I ended up getting some 200 level side stage for Ozzy's last concert at about $450 a piece, which is I don't care. I would have taken out another credit card to pay for it if I needed to. So I ended up getting the tickets, and then then the reality kind of set in, like, oh shit, like I'm going to fly across the ocean. Yeah. I've never left the continental United States before this. My girlfriend and I never have left the continental United States before this, so this was a very big deal for us. Yeah. So yeah, we ended up flying out of Detroit to London, and then we had to take a train from London to Birmingham. It was like 19 hours of travel that first day, and the next morning was the show, and it was just, it was very surreal and almost kind of dreamlike even being there in, England and just in another country to see Ozzy's final performance. And there's just, so much, obviously, aura, being in England, just history, like, it was pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the day of the show, we wake up, we stayed at it was like an old castle almost. It was like a Best Western had bought it. Best Western had bought this old castle and like converted it into like a golf course. All right. It was an amazing. We didn't get a chance to explore any of it because we pretty much slept the whole time because of the jet lag. But we wake up, we take an Uber from the castle to Aston Villa Soccer Stadium, which is within blocks of where all 4 members of Black Sabbath literally grew up. You can see their houses from there.
That's why they chose that area then, or that's why they chose the venue, I imagine, right?
Yeah, they could have chose anywhere in the world, and Ozzy chose home.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Where he was born. And hang on, let me bring up the poster real quick for the show. If you look at the poster, it's just so stacked. My girlfriend and I were wondering, like, how are all these bands going to play? Like, how is this going to work out? And Tom Morello was actually the musical director of the whole show.
Cool.
And they had a rotating stage. So there was a side A and a side B. So when side A was playing, they were setting up the next band on side B.
So there was like no lull time between bands?
No, they just had like maybe like some 5-10 minute like promo videos that they showed on the big screen. But yeah, it was just like
awesome.
All of a sudden, like the stage would rotate and like there the equipment would be, and the band would come on the stage. And like early on, like the first few bands like Mastodon and Rival Sons, they played maybe 2 songs.
Oh, okay.
So,
So that's partly how they were able to have so many bands.
Yeah, they were like 15-minute sets for like those early bands. So like just being at this like once in a lifetime show with this once in a lifetime lineup, playing these once in a lifetime sets, like every band played either an Ozzy or a Sabbath cover.
So cool.
So
cool.
it was just like, you know, you'd be like, oh man, it's like once you got like the wind that that's what everybody was doing, you're like, oh man, like who's gonna play what, like what's going on. And like
Yeah.
we heard Mastodon play Supernaut. We were just like, what? Like we heard Anthrax play Into the Void.
Oh, so cool.
Guns N' Roses only played one original song.
Really?
Only played Welcome to the Jungle.
And then what did they play of Ozzy's?
They played like deep cut Sabbath songs. They played Junior's Eyes off of Never Say Die, which is like a very deep cut. They played Never Say Die, the title track off Never Say Die, which is a Black Sabbath deep cut. They played Sabbath Bloody Sabbath.
Cool. Very cool.
So it was just like,
that's awesome.
they're never gonna play a set like these bands, like individually, are never gonna play a set like this at any show again. And then on top of that, you had these super groups. So there was a super group A and a super group B. So like all of a sudden you would see the singer of Ghost with the guitar player for In Living Color and like Chad Smith from Red Hot Chili Peppers drumming.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what? They're playing Bark at the Moon. And, you know, you're just like, what?
Wow. So they're just formed just to do this one set, basically, and then like they're done. Like they're not like a real band. They're just like, hey, let's fucking do this. We're all going to be there. Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
These jam groups of just like superstars. And on top of all that, you'll never see that combination of those superstars like playing these songs again.
Right.
We were just jaw on the floor, blown away, just like constantly, just like, oh my god, oh my god. Tool's playing Hand of Doom.
You haven't even gotten to Ozzy yet, and it sounds like you got your money's worth.
Once I even saw the poster, I was like, if Ozzy doesn't even sing one word, like, I don't even care. Like,
Wow. But yeah, I hear you.
but then on top of that, you're gonna get Ozzy and Sabbath at the end of it. So just like Metallica was there, and you know, Metallica's playing Johnny Blade, which is one of the most insane deep cuts off one of the most insane deep cut albums from Black Sabbath. And I'm just like, dude, this is, I'm never gonna see this again. Like,
I hope they release a video, you know what I mean, like a special, like where you can watch that footage again. I'm sure they will, or have.
my father was gracious enough to somehow obtain a torrent of the whole 10-hour pay-per-view, and he gave it to me on a memory stick. So I have the whole pay-per-view.
That's beautiful.
You know,
good gift, Dad.
Full audio, yeah. So like we're just sitting there, you know, jaw on the floor through all these moments of, you know, Ozzy's career, and then Metallica was the last band to play before Ozzy or Sabbath. And so like, you know, Metallica plays and it's just like, holy shit, like we're actually gonna see him.
Yeah.
So like that was the longest we waited, was between Metallica and Ozzy.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, like the intro tape comes on and the lights go down and Ozzy rises from the stage in his throne. Like there wasn't a dry eye in the house. Like it was insane. Like it's hard to put it into words, but I'm never gonna see it again, and I'm happy and I'm sad about it.
I mean, he passed, 2 weeks later? 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Something?
He passed maybe less than 2 weeks afterwards, and it was
very soon.
He gave it all at that show. Like, he sounded just as good as when I saw him live in 2019.
Wow.
His body was giving up on him, but his voice was so strong. And when he started Mama, I'm Coming Home, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of losing it right now talking about it, but when I was there, it was a moment we'll never forget for the rest of our lives. The whole stadium was singing.
I'm so happy you were there for it, man. You really deserve to be there. You're such a huge fan. I'm glad that you got to experience that with all of his other super huge fans, people from all over the world getting to come together and do that. And there you were with him, with the woman you love. That's beautiful.
Yeah. The only time his voice cracked was when he sang Mama, I'm Coming Home. And if I had to guess, I think it was because he was thinking about Sharon. But like
Right.
the whole stadium was singing for him, so like we had his back. And like, but yeah, and then he opened with I Don't Know, which is the opening track off Wizard of Oz, so it was kind of fitting. And he used to open with that live all the time. And then he played Mr. Crowley.
Cool.
And then Suicide Solution, which was the track that he got sued for in the 80s, where they said he had subliminal messaging in it.
So he's kind of owning that one, right?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised he played that. And then he played Mama, I'm Coming Home, and then he closed the set with Crazy Train.
Oh, so he didn't play a lot of songs.
No, and we knew that going in. Like, I thought he was really only going to play 2 with himself and 2 with Sabbath, because that was kind of what was floated. But he ended up doing 5, and we were...
It's awesome.
Yeah, we're pretty surprised and happy with that. And then after that, we're like, holy shit! Now he's got to do another set with Black Sabbath. Like, is he gonna be able to do it? He did his solo set, and then he came out again with the original members of Black Sabbath: Tony Iommi on guitar, Geezer Butler on bass, and Bill Ward for the first time since 2005 on drums. So the original lineup of Sabbath closed the show, and they did War Pigs, NIB, Iron Man, and Paranoid.
Dude, that's fucking awesome. You must have been shitting your pants with joy.
Yeah, for Sabbath to just cap it off, you know, the inventors of heavy metal, and one of the reasons I picked up guitar, and then, you know, just the whole thing, like the legends of the genre itself, to just close it out that way, it was amazing. It was like probably one of the best fitting ending shows any artist of any genre could have ever asked for, period. It was just phenomenal.
That's glorious. And I think that you're wrong what you said earlier about him, that he wouldn't have cared. I mean, he maybe wouldn't have known you personally, but I think that he probably would have been happy that his music had such a profound effect on you, just like it did on so many other people. You know, he's one of the most influential musicians of the 20th century, 21st century, of our era. And I'm glad you got to spend so much time with him in your life.
Yeah, I think you're right. He didn't know, but he would have cared.
Yeah. I mean, how do you not get joy from that? That so many people love you, that they weep when they see you show up. You know,
and he was always very earnest about that in his lyrics. That like he was doing this for the love of it, because his fans give him energy, and we literally gave him energy to do his last show, and he gave it all on that last show.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that stuck out to me about this album, one last point about it, Mr. Tinker Train notwithstanding, is that this is not a bummer album. Like, on the AVH, it says, "Life's amazing."
Yep.
That's literally one of the lyrics. Life's amazing. There's so much of this album that's about how much he loves playing music and being on the road. Some of that's written by Lemmy, but still, like, so much of it is about how much he just loves being a rock and roll star and going out there and doing his fucking thing. And that he could get so much out of that and give so much back in doing that. It's a dream, baby. It's awesome.
And No More Tears was the first album really where he did that, where he really bared himself and became a little bit more introspective in his lyrics. Like, this wasn't like the madman persona that he was, known for in the previous in the 80s, Yes.
Yeah, this is a personal album. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on and talking about it with me, dude, and talking about your experience in Birmingham watching this last show. It means a lot to me that you would share that with us, and I'm just really glad that you got to do it. Thanks for coming on again. And I know that you'll come back and continue educating us.
Thank you so much for letting me come on and talk about Ozzy and what he meant to me, and I really appreciate that.
It's awesome, man. You come back as soon as you can. You're always welcome. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. I'm going to stop making big pronouncements about when I'm going to release episodes. I'm pretty sure last episode I was like, I'm going to do these weekly again. Here I am a month later. The truth is that my life is just significantly more full than it was a couple years ago when I started this podcast. I have other obligations. I'm going to keep churning these out. I will not stop 93, 94. It's not stopping. But yeah, it's going to be whenever the fuck I can get him out. So how awesome is it for Brandon to have been there for Ozzy's last show? I mean, that is just incredible. You can hear it in his voice how much Ozzy means to him. I really appreciate him coming on the show and sharing that experience with us and talking about how much this album meant to him and how much Ozzy means to him. And yeah, it's why I do the show. It means a lot to me that he'd come on and share that with us. You too, person listening, could come on the show if you want to. All you got to do is have an album that was released in 1993 or 1994 that I haven't already done that you want to talk about. This is the part where I often recommend albums. Do you remember the band Tad and their 1993 album Inhaler? This is the first song off that album, Greasebox. Maybe you're a Tad fan and you want to come and talk about this album. That'd be cool. Any album from the era. At this point, I've even pointed out a couple albums like Soul Asylum's Gravedancers Union and Rage Against the Machine's self-titled album that were not released in 93, 94 that I would let, a new person do that hasn't been on the show before if they wanted to. Typically, first-timers, I ask that they do an album from 93, 94. So maybe Tad, maybe some other album that you like from that era. I'm not picky. All you got to do is email me at 9394podcast@gmail.com. That is 9394podcast@gmail.com. The numerical 9394. Not spelled out. You could also find me on Facebook. Once upon a time I had Blue Sky. I haven't checked that in a few months. Is that even what that thing's called? Is that still a thing? I don't know. And that is where I will leave you for today, party people. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care. 9394, a music podcast with Travis Roy, is a labor of love. It is not and never will be monetized. Please don't sue.